so fun. Here I am flying high above the San Diego Zoo. I was so lucky that I got to go on the Skyfari and got a whole entire view of the zoo. It was so cool and amazing. Then I got back down to earth and got started. Hey everyone, welcome back to Sky Girl Reporter. And it may look like I'm in the jungle, but really I'm at the zoo. Today I'm going to be interviewing Lisa, and she is a wildlife care supervisor. So let's say hi. Hi!
Hello everybody.
What does a wildlife care supervisor do?
Well, a wildlife care supervisor has the best of both worlds. I work with the animals and the wildlife at the zoo, but also important to that is working with the wildlife care specialists. And we want to make sure that we are providing the wildlife in our care with the best that we can, so when our guests come to visit, they can connect with some species maybe they've never even seen before or have never even heard of before.
Lisa was right. I saw some giraffes and elephants, but I saw a lot of other animals that I've never even heard of. Many people think they're warthogs, but they're actually peccaries. They kind of look like my dad. We're in luck. Not many people get to see the Ganuk. Do you know what a Ganuk is? Because that's a Ganuk. Here we have a view of a very interesting animal. It's called the Digosaur. As you can see, it's sleeping.
Because if we can have people appreciate the wildlife that they see in front of them, maybe they'll leave the zoo with an appreciation for the wildlife out in the world, because we want to have a planet where we can all live together.
That's great! What's your favorite animal at the zoo?
Gosh, I don't know if I can pick just one anymore. I've been working with so many different kinds. What I can tell you that they're all special and have their role in the world. What I do know is I work with koalas right now, and koalas are pretty special too. And they are from Australia, and I've learned so much about working with them that I didn't know before I got a chance to see them every day.
I love koalas. They're really cute.
They
And I
are.
like their ears.
Yes, too.
I wanted to interview the koala bear, but he spent the whole time sleeping.
So many people call them koala bears. If you've ever heard anyone call them a koala bear, you can say, you know what? Actually, koalas are not bears. They are marsupials, and they are marsupials because they have a pouch to carry their young. So
Like kangaroos.
Like kangaroos, because you know what? They're marsupials too.
I love kangaroos. How do the animals come to the zoo?
Sometimes they come here so that you, as a guest, can have an idea of how they live, what's special about them, and you can appreciate them. And other times they come to the zoo or the safari park for breeding recommendations, because we need to help the population grow. So if we can make pairings that will help us to create offspring, that gives us a really good background for the animals to continue to be on our planet for us to enjoy.
I'm glad they're here. What are some of the more dangerous animals?
I think the obvious ones are, you can probably guess, the large animals like elephants. They can be very dangerous just because of their sheer size and strength.
Excuse me, Mr. Elephant, please don't step on me.
Carnivores, which, you know, carnivores are the animals that eat meat, animals like lions and tigers. And they are very dangerous. You know why? Because we're made of carne, so we don't want to make any safety mistakes with carnivores.
Those seem really hard. What was the hardest animal you had to care for?
I think that the ones that are the hardest that I've ever worked with are primates. So those are things like monkeys and the great apes, you know, like us. Probably because they are so much like us. They're very, very smart, and they know that they're that smart. So they present some challenges that we all, as wildlife care specialists, are able to work through and help them work through. But I think that if I had to pick the hardest animal I've had to work with, I'd say primates.
What's your favorite part about your job?
I mean, look around you. Can you have a better office, really? I love to work outside. I also like being able to get so close to the animals and the wildlife that we care for and share that with the people who come through the door. So I think that might be my favorite part.
I would love that too. So now we are going to be interviewing Marco, and he is a senior wildlife specialist. So let's say hi. Hi!
Hey Sky, how's it going?
Awesome!
Yeah,
How
great.
are you?
Oh, I'm solid. It's a great day here at the San Diego Zoo.
Awesome! What does a senior wildlife specialist do?
We have the coolest job. So we are at the San Diego Zoo and the Safari Park, and some people may know our title of Wildlife Care Specialist as a zookeeper. It's kind of the same role, but we change it up a little bit because most people don't know that a Wildlife Care Specialist has so many more duties than just maybe maintaining a habitat that a guest might see a zookeeper or a Wildlife Care Specialist do. So it's all the behind the scenes of taking care of diets, training, enriching experiences. There's so much to being a Wildlife Care Specialist.
That must be so fun.
It is incredibly fun, my favorite thing to do, and I've been doing this since I was 16, and it doesn't get old.
What's your favorite animal at the zoo?
Ooh, that's a super good question. It's always really hard for me to pick one animal, but I do have a favorite. Now, it's called a crested caracara, or if you don't roll your R's, you can say caracara, and it's a type of falcon that acts like a vulture, and they get a really cool name because of a vocal sound that they make. They basically will look at the person or the animal they want to make the sound, and they go brrr, cara, cara, brrr, and they throw their head back, which is why they get the name caracara.
That's so funny. What's the hardest part about your job?
Honestly, it's sometimes, we build really strong relationship with a lot of the animals that are under our care, and we do such a good job. They live super long lives, but as you know, not all living things can live forever, right? So honestly, it's sometimes really hard to say goodbye to a lot of our animals that have reached that next stage in their life, sort of the last chapter of their life. So saying goodbye to some of these animals under our care can be super hard to do sometimes.
That's really sad. What's your favorite part about your job?
Can I pick two? I got two. Okay, one is coming into the zoo or the safari park before it even opens with all the guests, because I get to be part of all these awesome sounds that happen in the morning. It could be a cassowary vocalizing, a lion like roaring in the morning. That's one of my favorites. But the other is what you and I are doing right now, that we get to share all the amazing stories of the wildlife for San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. So it really means a lot to me, Sky, that we are sharing this opportunity right now.
Thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you. This is awesome.
So now we are going to learn everything about the zoo with Marco and Lisa. What is the mission of the zoo?
Ooh, that's an excellent question. We love that question. So, what we really are striving for here at San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance is we're uniting our expert quality animal care with our conservation science and really communicating that to the public, sort of like what we're doing now. And we hope we can inspire that passion for nature.
Because when you are inspired by nature at either one of our campuses, right, the safari park or the zoo, you take that with you when you leave the doors, and that's where you make the best differences, right, from home.
How many different animals are at the zoo?
That is an amazing question. There are so many species that are highlighted here, and it depends if you're thinking of the individuals, which are hundreds of individuals that are thriving here, plants and animals here at the San Diego Zoo, but also all the species too, right, Lisa?
Absolutely. There's at least 4,000 individual animals at the San Diego Zoo for sure.
Yeah, and all those different species that are highlighted, right? From the bears to the jaguars to the macaws to the reptiles.
And don't forget the invertebrates too. They're part of the whole picture.
Yeah, and it keeps going with plant species and fish. There is so much wildlife to experience here.
Those are so many animals. Wow. What's the rarest animal that is at the zoo?
And there's so many different species that are reflected as far as being a really special animal, but I think of some really unique. For instance, my family's from Mexico, so there's one animal I really like to talk about called an axolotl or ajolote or axolot, depending how you pronounce it. But this is a salamander that's only found at this point in one lake, Lake Xochimilco in Mexico. So that number of that particular species is dropping pretty drastically, but luckily, a place like us at the San Diego Zoo, we're gonna help out that species, like doing what we're doing right now and sharing about wildlife.
And for me, I think of, because I work a lot with mammals, there is an Amur leopard. Amur leopards are incredibly endangered. In fact, we call that critically endangered. And they're from Russia, but because we contribute to the population of those leopards on this planet, we have 2 cubs that are in Africa Rocks, if you come to the zoo, that are helping to boost that population. So Amur leopard cubs are a big help to that critically endangered species of an Amur leopard.
I love those animals, and my friend really likes axolotls. Isn't that the cutest thing you've seen in your life? I love the axolotl. What's the oldest animal at the zoo?
That's a very good question, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have the same answer, but there's a female Galapagos tortoise that lives here at the San Diego Zoo that's well over 100 years old, right, Lisa?
Absolutely. Grandma, is that her name? I believe she's over 100 years old, so she's the oldest animal here at the San Diego Zoo.
Pretty old, right?
Wow. Is there anything else you want people to know about you or the zoo?
Actually, you know, one thing I definitely want people to know is that you can do whatever you love to do when you were a kid. Now, I grew up here in San Diego. I loved animals and I love talking to people. And now I'm a wildlife ambassador. I think that's really, really awesome. And I want all the kids out there to know that all you have to do is find out what you love and you can totally make a career out of it. And even better, you can join San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance and be part of something bigger and help out with nature worldwide.
And I would like people to know that even if you have a passion for wildlife and maybe you want to, do coding as your job, you can still make a difference for the wildlife that you have such an appreciation for. You can do things at home, even simple things like recycling. That really helps also the wildlife. If you know what your carbon footprint is, you do more walking or bike riding than driving. All of those things help. Recycling, things that you can do very easily, and you can do it one person at a time.
Unfortunately, Lisa had to go to a meeting, but Marco and I went to go check out base camp.
All right, are you excited?
Yes.
It's gonna be awesome. All right, guys, so we're here. This is called Wildlife Explorers Base Camp. This is a spot for explorers just like you, 1 to even 100, to come to the San Diego Zoo and to play, to climb trees, to play in the streams, to jump up like a squirrel monkey. And one of my favorites is to learn about all the insects of the world. Sky, did you know that over 90% of wildlife in the world are invertebrates? So they're insects just like this. So when you go in there, it's gonna be a transformation. You're gonna feel like you shrunk down to the size of an insect and learn about wildlife from all over the world. Are you excited?
Uh-huh.
All right. So I can't wait to share this with you. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Now we're gonna cross the rope bridge. Come with me. Base camp was so cool. I got to run on some rope bridge. You're jiggling it, cameraman. Climb some hills. Here I am as a bumblebee trapped in a beehive. And even shrink down to a tiny insect. Maybe the funnest thing was jumping around like a monkey with Marco. Guess what, guys? My frog friend's telling you all to subscribe and like the video. Maybe it's better he doesn't jump. Whoa! If you get a chance, check out the world famous San Diego Zoo. It's so much fun. I'd like to thank Marco and Lisa for teaching me all about the zoo and for having a really fun, wacky time. Here I am with the view of an elephant's butt.